Hello guys, welcome to another video for our Java playlist. Guys, in this video we are going to deal with multi-dimensional arrays in Java. So guys, the concept of multi-dimensional arrays is very important and famous concept in nearly every programming language. But what are these multi-dimensional arrays and how to use them? So to see them, let's open our IntelliJ IDE and let's get started. So guys, before actually opening my IntelliJ IDE, I would like to show you some presentations. So if you have watched our previous video in which we had a great discussion on the arrays in Java topic, then you would be familiar with these blocks here. These are indexes of array elements that are usually stored in your RAM or memory. So what are multi-dimensional arrays? We will be talking about here two-dimensional arrays. So you can say that this is an array, and you can say that every element within this array contains an array also. Let us see in detail also. What does that mean? That means the element at this position 0 index or 1 index or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 contains a nested array or an other array. Fine, like that you can say it's a nested array, like that. So to understand and in simple words, you can say that every element within a multi-dimensional array is an other array, and this is the indexes of the multi-dimensional arrays. So guys, here you have got an idea about what multi-dimensional array means. This is two-dimensional array here. Fine, that means there would be you can say that about rows and columns of the elements of the array. One question that would arise here is that in the single dimensional array, the indexes start from the 0 and go to the n minus 1. That means the total number of elements in the array minus 1. So if there are 8 elements, then array indexes would start from 0 and would go to n minus 1, and n is here 8. 8 minus 1 would be 7. Fine. But what happens in multi-dimensional arrays? Okay guys, to give indexes to elements for our multi-dimensional arrays, what happens? As you know that we are talking about two-dimensional arrays right now, and it's simple, like there are, let me draw here a shape. So guys, to get a better understanding of two-dimensional arrays or multi-dimensional arrays, I am hoping here that you have some concepts related to x and y planes in two dimensions. So what does that mean? That means there is an x coordinate here, like this one I have highlighted, and there is a y coordinate. The x coordinate we call here as rows, like that. These are horizontal lines or horizontal code of blocks. Fine, but there are also some vertical blocks or vertical axes in arrays. We call this vertical code of block as a column. So you can see that here that the vertical arrows here means these are the columns, but here you can see that these are the horizontal arrows and they are representing rows. I know that these concepts are not too much clear until now, but yes, they would become clear when we start coding in the IntelliJ IDE. Fine. So this is the theoretical concept of multi-dimensional arrays, and I would be talking about two-dimensional arrays only. You will learn up to any dimensions you want, but for the sake of simplicity, I would be teaching you the two-dimensional arrays only. Fine. So just a quick overview. Two-dimensional arrays means the rows, this one, and the columns. Okay, fine. So what are the here 0 0 0 comma 1 0 comma 2 0 comma 3? If you have an understanding of coordinates in physics, then you would be familiar with the concept that is known as x comma y. That means the x coordinates and the y coordinates. Okay, fine. So these coordinates, what does that mean? That means this is the x value and this is the y value at a specific point. Okay, fine. So simple, you just have to remember these two diagrams for reference to our multi-dimensional arrays or two-dimensional arrays. So here x means uh, you can say that any point along this axis, x-axis, fine. And this y here means any point along the y-axis. So what happened here in indexing this 0 comma 0 0 comma 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 is the method of indexing of the elements of two-dimensional arrays. So let's put this physics concept on this multi-dimensional or 2D array in Java. So what happened here? First, let me show you the again this array here. Array index start from 0 to 7. Fine. 0 to n minus 1, sorry. So same happens here. I'll also remember that x here is the any point along the horizontal direction, this one, and y is the any point along this vertical direction. Fine. So you can see that here how many number of columns or vertical lines are here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, fine. So let me put a text box here. Okay, and give it a fill color of white just to show the demonstration here that y would go up to 8. Okay, fine. That means there are 8 number of columns in this two-dimensional array. What does that mean? That means there would be 8 elements in a single row. So let me tell you again here that there are 8 columns here in this our array, and that means that y would go up to 8 minus 1, like that. And why 8 minus 1? Because in a single row there are 8 columns, and if there are 8 columns, then we can only put 8 elements in that single row. That means for arrays, indexes start from 0 to n minus 1, and n here is 8. So what's the reason here? We write y is equals to 8 minus 1. This is the all reason and logic behind that there could be 8 elements stored in a single column, and the indexes would go up to 8 minus 1. Fine. So for x, what we have to do, we will check the number of rows here. 1 2 3 4 and 5. Okay, 5. So I'm writing here 5 minus 1. And to again tell you the reason behind this x is equals to 5 minus 1 is the simple one. Like if there are 5 rows here, then that means the first row would have index 0, and the maximum number of rows would be n minus 1, and here n is 5. So I'm writing here 4, and I'm writing here 7. So here I think this coordinate system would become clear to you that we can use any number from 0 to 4 for the x value here, x coordinate, and from 0 to 7 for the y coordinate here. Fine. So let's say that if you want to access this block here, then you would see what is the row here. Its row is 0 1 2. Okay, this is the second row. Okay, fine. So this was the here. So you would see here what is the column number here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you would see that I can access this code block or this block of memory by giving it an index of about 2, 6. And again I'm telling you the before comma is the row number and after comma is the column number. So I think this would be the uh, enough theoretical concept about this. We will study it again by some practical stuff here, and let's open IntelliJ IDE. Okay guys, here you can see that I had created a multidimensional.java file and I have put the main method here. So let's first start creating the multidimensional array. Okay, for the simple arrays, let me put a comment here like that. And in this comment, I will tell you again what's the first we will write here the data type, like data type, and after that the we can use here like that two pair of brackets, square brackets, and the identifier for the name of the array and then array values. Fine. So I am writing here values. Okay, fine. So let's create an integer array. First let me create a single dimensional array and I am using here number array is equals to, and I would use here curly braces, and in between them I would use 1 2 3 4 5. Let's run it, and here you can see that our whole array had been printed. Okay, fine. So let's convert this array into a multi-dimensional array. So for that let me comment it out and make an array here like that, and I am writing here multi array. Okay, but here comes a typo. For your A's, what you have to do, you can use a curly parenthesis like that, put some spaces, put another curly parenthesis, comma, another curly parenthesis, comma, another curly parenthesis. And here I would be showing you some tricks so that you won't get confused about the whole procedure. Let me show you again what I have done. We have to give this array some values. So for multi-dimensional or two-dimensional arrays, okay, remember this is not a single dimensional array, so we cannot use this kind of notation to give this array values. And if I open again my slides, I would show you here that every element in this array is an another array. Fine. So to see them in detail, first I had put it some spaces here and I have pressed enter here. Fine. And after here I have used another curly parenthesis and comma, enter, another curly parenthesis, comma, enter, another curly parenthesis. Okay, like that. Fine. So I am putting some spaces here. Okay, fine. So this is a multi-dimensional array, and let's see the slide again. This one. You can see that here we have x and y coordinates. Fine. So here is the thing again. That means this is a row, this is another row, this is another row. Okay, so let us see here again. These are the number of rows here. I have put it 3 number of rows here, but if you want to put another one, you have to put a comma here and parenthesis like that. Fine. Okay, let me write it here. Row number 1, copy it, paste it here, number 2, paste it here, number 3, paste it here, number 4. Okay, so now we have 4 rows. So what about the columns that we had created for our array here? Let's see here. So columns mean the vertical group of elements. Fine. So if I let me randomize this array here, 5 6 7 8, okay, 9 10, okay, fine. You can see that here there are four elements here, four columns here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, uh four four columns in this one, four columns in this one, four columns in this one, and four columns in this one. So here you can see that we got a multi-dimensional array who's got number of columns. How many number of columns? Let's see again. We got four number of columns here. Fine. Okay. And how many number of rows here? Number of rows here are again four. Let me put a comment here to tell here. Number of rows here are 4, and number of columns are 4 here again. Again, I am telling you how to check the number of rows and number of columns. These are, you can say, horizontal lines or horizontal groups are rows, third one, and the fourth one. Fine. And the vertical groups are known as columns. So you can see that here. Let me put my cursor at a specific group, and you can see that this is the highlighted are a specific group, and this group is a vertical group. Fine. We got one column, second one, third one. Okay guys, I have just formatted this array so that you can get a better understanding here. One group, this one is a vertical group and it is known as column. This is number one column. Okay, number two, fine, number three, and this is number four. So there are four number of columns and there are four number of rows. I hope so this concept would become clear to you, the number of rows and the number of columns. So we have created a multi-dimensional or two-dimensional array here. So here I would be showing you the size of multi-array dot, and let's print this one. And you can see that it's only giving us 4 here. And what does that mean? That means here that if I comment this one here and run it and show you the results, you would see here 3. And if I copied this one like this and put a comma here and then run it, you would hopefully see 5. Yes, you would see 5 here. So here multi dot length function is only giving us the number of rows. Fine. So I have showed you the demo that if we remove this one row here, it would show 3, and at this specific time it is showing us 4. So what we have to do, let's use a for loop to print them. I am using here int iterator starting from 0. Iterator would go up to array dot length, and here I'm iterating this iterator, and let's sort here the method, sorry, I'm going to sort here the multi-array and iterator. Okay, now let's run it, and you would see that we are getting this kind of, I hope so, hexadecimal codes. So this is the memory address for our array here. Fine. So these hexadecimal numbers here are the memory addresses, actual memory addresses for our these array columns here. So what happened here, that when we had used the only iterator here, the first part, and let me also write it down here, that for multi-dimensional arrays, the first pair of these brackets means rows. Fine. And the second one means columns, like that. And we had seen here right now that when we had put it this one, then it is saying here and displaying here the address of this column here, of this row here, sorry, because the 0 means the zeroth row, The one means the one row here, the second one means the third row here, and the three here means the fourth row. Fine. But if I put here another parenthesis, square brackets, it is saying here expected something. Okay, it is expecting us a statement here. Either we can put a semicolon, bracket, expression. Let me put here too and just run it. You can see that now we got 3738, and I had open here like that, and you can see that here 3738 is here. So this column had been printed 3738 on the console. So let's try to interpret this method here that we had used to print arrays. Okay, I'm using here the comment again, and I'm writing here accessing array element. Okay, fine, element like that. So what happened here? First parenthesis pair, square bracket, sorry, another one. This one controls the row and this one controls the columns. Fine. In this example, we had used iterators from 0 to 4 because array dot length means here the number of rows, and the number of rows here are 4. Fine. So the here would go, the row part would go from 0 to 4, 0 to 3, sorry, because we had seen in great detail that the array indexes would be one less than the number of total elements. Fine. Okay, the number of rows would be 4 here, that would go from 0 to 3, and here in another one we put the 2 here. Okay, let me put that here 2. What does that mean? That means that let's open here PowerPoint and show you something. That means here for example, if we got for sorry 4 rows, 1 2 3 4, and how many columns here? 4 columns. Okay, so I'm going to remove them. I can't remove them. So okay, let me tell you here what does that mean. That means the let's open IntelliJ again, and my let me close this console. Okay, fine. So the row element would have to go from 0 to 3, and the column 1 would be to 2. So 0 to 3, that means the 0 1 2 3, all rows printed one by one, and the second index of the columns here. So that means 0 1 2 here. Fine. So the 0 at the 0 column here, 0 row here, sorry, the index of this element would be 0 to 2. Fine. 0 comma 2, because our column is 2 and the row is 0 here. When the row number becomes 1, then compiler would search in this block here, where is that one here. Fine. So compiler see that this is the 1st row here. Okay, after that, what's the index of the column? That index was 2. So compiler would say here this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. So this is the second element that would be printed. Okay, our now row number had been changed to 2. Compiler would see where is that 2 row. Compiler would say, okay, this is the second indexed row here, 2 index row. So it would search again here, where is the second index for the column 1. It would say, yeah, this is the block here. Okay, fine. Now the compiler would again see the third row, and that is the 3 index, and here is the second index of the number of columns. So that's the reason this was printed on the console 3733. If I put here 1, you would see 2617. And yes, you can see that we had printed the same here. Fine. If we use here 5, let's do that and we will got an exception. You would see that we got an exception here because there are only 4 elements or 4 columns in a specific row. How can we access the 5th one? That's not here. If we write it 3, it would give us 4845, 4845. Fine. So this is the you can say method to print the array elements, but I am commenting it out and using another for loop here, for loop. And so here I am putting iteration from 0. Iteration would go up to the iteration would go up to multi our array.len and iteration plus plus. Okay, fine. I'm using here another for loop and we had learned the nested for loops also. Fine. And if you have not learned that, then watch that video. The link would be in the description below. So here I am putting another integer and I am going it iterator. That would also start from 0. Iterator would go up to how many columns here are? There are 4 columns. Okay, fine. Iterator plus plus. Okay, here I would be shouting, I'm just entering here our array name. Then here I had said, again I'm saying it, that in the first pair would control the rows and the second one would control the columns here. Fine, let's run it and then we will discuss it in detail. Here you can see that our all rows, our all elements of the array had been printed, but let's do it in a good manner. Okay, I have just modified this and let's run it and see its details. And you would see that here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 9 1 3 4 5 7 8 5. So we had got the row by row and the exact manner in which we had stored the array. So I just use here print because println puts the end line or new line at the end of this character or array element. But when we use print, it just prints that whatever we have put in this parenthesis, like that. Fine. Okay, now let's see here. Let me write it here. This is used to control rows and this loop controls columns. Fine. So the outer loop would control the rows and the inner one would control the columns here. Let me repeat that here. Here we had put iteration. Iteration would go to from 0 to 4 here. Fine. Okay, the 4 are the number of rows here. Fine. The inner loop would go from 0 to 4, sorry, 0 to 3. So it would be here, that because it is controlling the columns here. So here what would happen, that first we will see here 0 comma 0 element, and after that 0 comma 1 0, and after that 0 comma 2, and after that 0 comma 3, and after that we will got 1 comma 0, 1 comma 1, and 1 comma 2, and 1 comma 3. Fine. So this is the you can say that manner in which we can get access to the array elements. Fine, guys. So I hope so, guys, these concepts would become clear to you. I know that these are some difficult concepts and these are very difficult for beginners. So if you have not watched arrays and have not cleared the arrays concepts, then first you have to clear those concepts and then you have to move on to this topic here. And if you guys got any questions, then ask me in the comments below. So guys, enough for this video. We will be meeting in our next video, in which we will be practicing these multi-dimensional arrays in detail, and we will try to resolve all your questions and errors from this specific topic here. So guys, until our next video, stay tuned and don't forget to like our video, subscribe our channel and share with your friends. Goodbye.